Miss Laura from Madison Public Library, and today I wanted to do a book talk about The One and Only Ivan by Katherine Applegate. And it's one of my favorite middle grade novels, and I just wanted to share my thoughts about it with you. So we can jump on in. So this story is told from the perspective of a caged gorilla named Ivan. He lives at the Exit 8 Big Top Mall and Video Arcade in a state in Midwest America. And I really think that the story pulls on the heartstrings of readers and encourages them to feel empathy for animals. And I'd say this book is recommended more for ages like 8 to 12 because there are some heavy topics in it. And as you can see, this is an award-winning book. It won the Newbery Award recently. So Ivan has gotten used to attention from humans as they peer in at him all day in his enclosure. He barely remembers his earlier life, which was spent in the jungle with his family. Instead, he thinks about the TV shows he is able to watch. He speaks to his friends, which include a dog named Bob, and then an elderly elephant named Stella. And most impressively, he creates art with finger paints and paper. So all of Ivan's friends are also in small enclosures, and this tiny circus is ran by the awful Mac, who does not shy away from using whips or mistreating the animals while training them. And when baby elephant Ruby is brought to the Big Top Mall as a new attraction, things begin to change. A tragedy occurs, and Ivan finds himself reflecting more on his past and life back in Africa in the jungle. And Ivan realizes that he has a whole new responsibility to help Ruby survive in the Big Top Mall and also find freedom. So with the help of Ivan's art, these animals band together to find a way out of this cruel life, and they grow closer to one another in the process. So while I was reading The One and Only Ivan, I began to feel like I knew Ivan better than some of my favorite book characters because of how detailed the descriptions were and how insightful he was. It really felt like I was in the mind of a highly intelligent poet or artist, with his keen sense of observation and his ability to read others so well, whether it was his animal friends or Mac or the people that visited him. So this book is also a really great tool of teaching empathy to children because everything that Ivan feels, the reader feels too. The reader also feels the immense loneliness that Ivan and his friends experience from being in their enclosures all day long. And also the red-hot anger at Mac and his mistreatment of them, especially Ruby. I really think that the ability of a writer to make the reader feel emotions deeply is what sets a good writer apart from an incredible one. And The One and Only Ivan makes readers question humanity and our desire or need to keep animals in captivity. While it does shed a positive light on zoos, it is matter of fact that zoos are still cages for animals. I also like that the story does not shy away from trauma and the hard truth about certain aspects of life and our society and what we do to animals. However, like I said at the beginning, some parts may be difficult to read in relation to animal cruelty. So that's why I would say that this book is more suitable for older children and tweens around 8 to 12 or 10 to 12. And it is more for advanced readers as it's a really long book and there's a lot of advanced vocabulary too. And as I've been saying, The One and Only Ivan gives you a new perspective on animals and captivity. It makes us question the morals or principles that we stand on, and it engages one's curiosity. I think that this story can really help facilitate an interest in animals, or at least begin conversations about the treatment of animals in captivity, or even the definition of art, or the consciousness of animals and their feelings, and just in general the principles that we live by. And it's just a very enjoyable story that will have you excited and happy and laughing at one point to being really angry or sad at what's happening in the story. And it's just really a tale of friendship and hope and achieving your dreams. And I just think it's really wonderful. And I also wanted to mention that Katherine Applegate actually released the next book in this series, which is The One and Only Bob. That came out within the last few months. And that's told through the perspective of Bob the dog. And I will just say, to avoid any spoilers, if you didn't read The One and Only Ivan, it involves a journey with all the main characters of the first book. And it really is about the meaning of family. And also, before I go, I wanted to give a list of some read-alikes that deal with similar topics or about animals. So the first one, I have to go with Charlotte's Web by E.B. White. It's just a must-read novel that tells a heartwarming story of Wilbur the pig, who evades a terrible fate not once, but twice, first with the help of Fern Arable, the farmer's daughter, and then through a friendship with a very friendly spider named Charlotte. The next is Kate DiCamilo's The Tiger Rising, which is about a tiger who is caged in a forest, and the two tweens who band together to set him free. And that is also a very emotional story. It's not told from the perspective of the animal, but it's about two children who learn about freedom and sometimes the consequences of it and the consequences of our choices. And even if we intend to do the right thing, sometimes that's not how life works for us. But it's still a very uplifting book, and it's one of my favorites by Kate DiCamillo. And then lastly, there's Kyle Hyason's book, Hoot, and the rest of the books in that series. They all focus on a different environmental issue, from contaminated waters or wrangling wild animals for a TV show, and each installment just features a passionate teenager that fights to protect animals and the environment. And so I just think those are some similar books. One is told from the perspective of an animal, and then the other two are just all about animals and how humans treat them, and they all are just very thought-provoking stories. And that's about all I had to say. So I hope you enjoyed this book talk, and I will see you next week for another video. It'll be a STEAM one for Da Vinci's Workshop, and I hope you have a good night. Bye!